Hey, it's 6 o'clock. Drive, I'm in. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting to order. Any adjustments to the agenda?
I have two.
Okay.
One is Amy Dyer has to go to the St. George annual town meeting, and she's on the agenda for selling the stretcher. So she requested she be put in sooner so that she can go to that meeting. And as a CEO, I have a request to waive the fee. The library is putting up a gazebo.
So we'll do 6B, which is the stretcher, right after we update on the ambulance collections under old business.
Well, I have a suggestion. I think we need to step and respond or not respond to Walter's email regarding the email that came in on the 13th, or at least acknowledge receipt of it.
Yeah, we'll put that under correspondence.
Yeah.
Which I would like to do. We have to go into executive session. I'd like to do the correspondence before that.
Do we?
There's a possible executive session.
Well, the route is possible until we vote on it.
That's right. Exactly. Right.
Anybody else? We respond.
Oh, move it up, you mean?
Well,
Yeah.
That's up to you. I just didn't know if you realized he was here.
Yeah, I think that's second right after ambulance as well. Okay, draft minutes. Entertain a motion from April 23rd.
I'll move passage, but I'd like to discuss something.
I'll second it.
Okay, open for discussion.
Item 5, excuse me, 7C. I'm not sure we closed the loop, or the minutes closed the loop the way we did, regarding the return of the petition that was presented to us. My understanding, and I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I think that was a confusing meeting, was that if the presenters agreed to take it back. And I don't know if that's clear in here. So I'll do that. And I want to make sure my understanding is correct.
What do you mean they agreed to take it back?
Well, it was submitted to us,
Right,
and then, but after discussion, it was physically handed back to
Right.
one of the presenters.
because you said it was illegal.
Right, but I don't think.
Does
that
it say that in here?
I don't think so.
I think if you're gonna say that they took it back, you have to say that that they were told that the wording was illegal.
That's fine. I don't object to that. I just think we need to, it doesn't say what happened to the petition.
Okay.
Does it say that the petition was even presented?
Well, actually, that's another good question.
Because I maintain the petition should have been presented through the clerk.
Yeah, I personally think that's immaterial.
It's just called the article is what it says.
But
Doesn't-
that's different.
It does say a petition was presented.
Oh, it
to the
does,
select
it
board.
does
Yeah,
on page
okay, yeah,
4,
Yeah,
second paragraph.
it was thought the article is illegal, the town cannot. So I guess I'm back to my original
Okay.
thought, I just think we need to close the loop with a simple sentences that the, one of the representatives of the presenters, agreed to, take the petition back. You can't say de-submitted.
Right. Right. Well, just make a statement, one of the petitioners
Hey, Jeff,
took it back, yeah.
just an FYI, I was at the meeting after Barbara did a presentation. Mr. DiMaggio said I withdrew my petition.
Mr. Dodger didn't submit a petition.
Well, the letter, I'm sorry.
There's some,
Let's not,
leave that.
let's not confuse this, we're
Okay.
talking about the petition.
It was presented by, Lynn.
Lynn took
Yeah.
it.
and
I think we can keep it real simple, and we just need to say that the one of the circulators agreed to take the petition
right,
back after it was presented to the select board. If you're agreeable to that, I'll make a motion to, I'll draw my motion to approve it and make a motion to approve it as amended.
I'll second that.
Any further amendments, corrections, or additions? All those in favor? And Amy, you still there? We lose her?
No, I'm here.
Okay. You got 2 items, update on ambulance collections.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, that's you. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and discuss that while she's here.
The last, we had decided we were sending bills to collection for people that didn't pay. I sent 3 notices. Each time I sent a hardship waiver form. Then I sent a final notice saying if I don't hear from you in 30 days, it's going to collections. I again sent the hardship form, and I have sent to date 16 to collections. They haven't collected anything, but I've sent them.
Okay.
And I assume nobody's submitting any hardship waiver request forms either,
No,
which just astonishes me because it's just so easy to get out from under this.
yeah.
Okay. Then back at you, Amy. You're back up again. To discuss ambulance, what is it, the stretcher, right?
Full battery stretcher.
The seller.
Yeah, the old.
You're breaking
So I
up.
just need approval to sell it to the school for the cost that's on there. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're good now.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
okay. I just need approval. The school would like to buy. Okay, so yes.
For 6,000.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
No, either.
So when she said the schools, it's the
Midco School of Technology, yeah.
For $6,000. Oh,
Yes, they would have to buy new batteries for it and stuff. It's the stretcher piece that we're selling.
can I just ask out of curiosity what it might be worth on the open market? That seems like a lot to me, 6,000.
No, we would get between 5 and 9. So,
So it's really kind of market. All right.
yeah,
And we're selling it as is, so they need to provide the battery, right?
correct. Correct.
I'll make a motion and we approve Amy's recommendation to sell the old box.
Yes.
Operated stretcher to the Midcoast School of Technology as is. No warranty expressed or implied.
I'll second that.
$6,000.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Discussion regarding Maine
Thank you.
Coast seafood property. Yeah, thank you, Amy. I'm sorry. Wig, you're on.
Hi. I did have a chance to come up for the day 2 weeks ago and see the condition of the property. I appreciate that a lot of the traps have been moved off. There's 2 clusters of traps still there as of 2 weeks ago, and but I appreciated the progress on that. I looked at both sides. As you know, they have a little bit of waterfront on the other side. I also have chatted with Jeff Woodman about making sure the property is properly posted to make sure people have notice. And I expect to meet with the brothers online pretty soon. The 3 of them are in different places right now. And that's really what I have to report. I have been following, because I read the main papers every morning. I have been following the emergency funding. I think a small amount of funding, if it's available, would go quite a ways toward making it safer.
I don't think it's posted. I do think that someone put up, a line with red flags on the 2 driveways to make it.
Yeah, that might be, that might be Jeff. I just talked with him a day or 2 ago, a couple days ago, and I haven't talked with him since. I appreciate that he did that. He's just, he had formerly used the site for his cold storage facility, and I thought I would check in with him.
But I don't think any traps have
I don't
gone.
think so either.
And quite frankly, that's not the issue in my mind.
Right.
At all. I think that, and I think personally, we need as a board to move this along. I think when you say in the near future, what does that mean? I mean.
Well, I guess, I'm not the owner of the property, so I can't really speak for them unless I've had a meeting and gotten a conclusion from them. The site did have many more traps when I visited up months ago than it does now. The inland site was pretty much full.
Yeah. But again, I don't think the traps are the issue.
No, they aren't. That's just, I'm just
Yeah.
reporting on that because you had brought it up at the last meeting.
But the debris in the town is a major issue. I mean, there's a piece of machinery in there. I understand that the fuel tank does have product in it. I don't know that for a fact, but I've been told that. And both of the buildings are really dangerous. The wharf is in the water.
I walked the whole site, including out on the wharf.
Yeah, and I personally feel we've been more than generous time-wise here. I don't know when we first talked to you about this, but I feel this board needs to move ahead and contact some state agencies and maybe our attorney and see what we need to do to get this cleaned up sooner than later. That's just my personal feeling.
So this is Kevin Gordon, and I own property adjacent. And I just came up about a week ago to open up the house, and I see no difference whatsoever from when I last fall. when I left last fall to close up the house. I'm exaggerating. There's a whole bunch of pallets and everything, and I'm talking about on the non-water side of the property, traps, etc. I see no change whatsoever. So I wholeheartedly concur that I think the town needs to take some action because clearly nothing has happened in the last several weeks since this was brought up on the select board meeting that it was a topic on. So thank you.
Yeah, I offered to get rid of the traps and I was asked not to because we don't own them. They're somebody else's traps.
Well, again, it's not just the traps. There's pallets. There's dozens of pallets that are all over the place, right? So
Right.
it's not just traps.
But I think when John mentioned the traps last time, he said there's a process for getting rid of abandoned traps. And you can go through that, or the owners can go through that process. But I guess if you can't speak for the owners and you can't take any action, I'm not sure we're talking to the right person, are we? We need somebody who's gonna clean it up. And the only person I'm looking at right now is you,
Yeah.
unless you tell me, nope,
No,
you're
no,
not.
I can convey the message back. And get back to you. I can get back to the staff if you want as soon as I've chatted with the family again. I don't know what else I can do. It's not my property.
Well, I feel this has dragged on too long, and I'd like to make a motion that we have the town administrator contact our attorney to explore our alternatives here. I think there are multiple alternatives at play, both from state agencies as well as the town, dangerous building,
Yeah,
that type of stuff. So that's my motion. I think
I will
Sat on
second
this
that.
long enough.
Yeah, I agree. I'll second that.
Moved in second, any further discussion? And Terry, you understand that?
Yep.
Hannah, you understand that? Okay. All those in favor? 3-0. I think what we were trying to say is if it got cleaned up sooner rather than later, it's probably gonna cost them a lot less money than if it's not.
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, Terry, update on tax acquired properties?
I don't know what to do. The new law doesn't come into effect.
Yeah.
So you have the emails that I sent, that I have from FMA Legal, and she pretty much recommends waiting and sending the 90-day notice after the law passes.
Do you know when that is supposed to be?
I was trying to look it up online today and going through the state websites. Impossible. I have driven by there several times the last few weeks, and I'm not even sure it's there anymore.
Well, that actually makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's not living there.
I mean, if we're supposed to contact him to let him know that we're gonna list it
Yeah.
for sale, but if he doesn't pick up anything, he doesn't pick up the certified mail, you mail it to mail, you don't know that he got it, but it doesn't come back,
Well-
you assume he got it.
I don't mind waiting if the new law takes effect. If that's MMA's recommendation, but I know MMA insurance doesn't like us having property that's
Yeah.
occupied, that's tax acquired. So if both sides of the house are okay with that, I'm okay with it, but. Cause I think it will be cleaner once the new law comes into effect, cause I think it's gonna be we're gonna be caught right in the middle here, we're gonna have one set of one process, and then all of a sudden that process is gonna change right
Right,
in
she
the
said it would
middle.
be really confusing, especially
Yeah.
to the owner, and basically you're gonna start again.
So I'll make a motion, we delay to the law is effective, provided MMA insurance is notified and is okay with that.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Roof repair. Tabled it last time.
Yeah, I thought I was just gonna take a look at, get someone to sand the spots and, so maybe we did table it, but, I don't feel we need to
Table it again.
do anything tonight about it. I mean, I guess we could put it back on the agenda if the temporary repair doesn't appear to work.
Right. Yeah. So we can just remove it from the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Good. All right, new business, discussion on timing to submit a citizen petition in time for the annual town meeting. Paul, you asked to have this put on the agenda?
I don't believe, no, I don't think so. I think you did. You asked Terry to look into it at the last meeting.
Well, I think it was because of a request from Paul to clarify what the process is to get it done.
Yeah, but anyway,
I mean, I think early on you folks said, I honestly don't remember, but I think we were talking, which I thought was tight, June 1st. Which I thought was tight, but I don't know what is the,
well, Terry,
I'm kind of not involved in it now, and we'll get into that later.
Terry did a lot of research and wrote, is it in our packet? I didn't see it.
No,
Oh, that's why I don't see it.
that's right.
I-
This was like, just over the weekend, I started looking into. We have to post it a week before town meeting. The first town meeting is June 11th. It also needs to be signed. Your next meeting is May 29th. I could easily have a warrant ready for you to sign, the way it is on May 29th. But if we're gonna add anything to it, I guess we'd need to know in advance so that we could still have a different warrant to sign May 29th. If you don't sign it May 29th, you're gonna have to call a special meeting just to get together to sign whatever it is you guys decide to sign.
But we would have time between the 29th and the posting date,
Yeah,
not much.
Not much.
A couple of days, right?
yeah, couple of days,
If, and at this point, we don't have a petition.
right.
And
So at this point, I could give you a warrant to sign tonight and you'd be good to go. Unless something's added later and then you'd have to redo it.
so let's talk about petitions in general. So somebody comes in, they take out papers for a petition or do they
They
go online?
They do, I don't know where they get them. The
Okay.
town's not responsible to provide papers for a petition.
Okay. But when they turn them in, you have to verify not only that the individuals that signed it are in fact registered voters in the town, but also that the person who collected the signatures did it personally.
Yes, the
Right.
circulator has to sign an oath. saying
And and you have to actually administer an oath, right?
Yep,
That they in fact face to face with each one of the signatories.
One person has to do that?
well,
All
you can
of
have
them.
more
You
than
can have
one
more than one.
circulator.
Okay.
But all of them have to take the oath. That the signatures on there, they were present for their signatures. And that the document that they are signing is the document that's being turned in. So that when they were given the opportunity to sign, they have to have what the verbiage is gonna be on there. And that has to be what gets turned in here. And then once you certify it, then it comes to the select board.
Right.
To do one of a couple of possible things. One, they can determine that if you determine that it's good, and it comes to us, then our determination is it legal? Is it a legal thing that the town can vote? If it is, then we can either try to put it on the next town meeting warrant,
Mhm.
or we can within 60 days, decide to do it as a special town meeting.
Correct.
And that's completely the select board's decision. And the 60-day clock is not when the meeting has to, special meeting has to occur, but when the select board sets the meeting. So at the 59-day point, select board could set a meeting for 30 days later or 60 days later.
And what is the criteria for determining whether it would go to town meeting or a special meeting?
That's up to us.
That's up to us. That's the select board's decision.
So it's whatever you decide.
Yeah, well, yeah, if we don't get it in time to post it, though, it can't go to the.
Right.
town meeting.
Right.
Yeah. So the bottom line, if we don't get it by the 39th, it can't go,
Although
or 20.
I read it a little differently than you. I read it that we can do it within 60 days or on the next warrant,
Right.
which could be a year from now.
Oh.
As long as it doesn't, and there's some case law on this, from what I understand, having been involved in this before, as long as the delay would not irreparably harm the outcome of the petition.
Right.
In other words, an example would be if you're gonna tear down a bridge and then you get it, and it's scheduled to happen on July 30th. And you say, well, we're gonna delay to August 10th when the bridge is down, then that, we're stifling. So it's a little even more nuanced than that, but I'd like to focus, I'm hoping. I guess I'm anticipating we are gonna get a petition, and I'm hoping that we get it on the annual town meeting, although we have on the correspondence somebody who has indicated they would like us not to do that. So I guess I wanna just be clear in my own mind, Terry, when is the practical latest date that we could pull everything together if we don't have it on the,
In a perfect world. We all know we
which we're
didn't.
not on.
In a perfect world, it would be ideal to have the petition so that it could go in your packet, so that you can look at it over the weekend of when you get your packets on a Thursday, so that you can look at it and really think about it and not have everything just all of a sudden we're in a meeting and everyone's trying to make a decision.
Right.
So it would be ideal if we could have it, I don't have my calendar, I meant to look at that.
Like the 26th or 25th, but
Well, what's the Thursday before the 29th?
23rd.
Okay, so if we could have it by the 22nd, that gives Karen and I time to print it and copy it and put it in the folders. That gives you all weekend to look at it, for everyone to be able to digest
and if there's any
the whole
questions, it
process.
gives you time to call to Kristen or MMA or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
So it's like a week and a day from today.
Yeah, and then it's in everyone's packet, it's
And it's on the
on the
agenda.
agenda,
On the
it's,
agenda.
everything is clear, and I can make a couple different options for you to sign on that day, whatever's decided, and I just think it would be easier to be prepared and to leave that meeting on the 29th, knowing what I'm posting for an agenda.
So in a non-perfect world, what's the latest,
On a non-perfect
what's
world.
the latest you could get it? And we would then have to have a special meeting to execute the warrant.
Well, it has
And
to be
get the warrant
posted
posted.
7 days before, so.
Right, so let's back up from there.
You'd have to back up, and you've got a calendar, Sue?
Yeah,
Yeah.
7 days before June 11th.
4th.
Business days, right.
Yeah.
Or
Yes,
7 calendar
days.
days.
7
Okay.
days.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
7 days.
4th,
And what's the 4th? What day of the week?
Tuesday.
Okay. So if we had it the 3rd, in theory, we could print up,
Except you don't have time, that doesn't give time to call a special
No.
board meeting. We
No.
could call an emergency meeting, so we don't need a 5-day notice.
yep,
But as a practical matter, you gotta notify the newspaper,
yep.
so that
So-
takes a day.
And if you, I mean, we don't generally work on Saturday and Sunday. I often work on Friday, and would probably come in on a Friday if we had to, so.
Okay,
So that puts us back to the 29th.
Yeah,
you're almost back to the 29th, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not quite that late, but close.
And isn't there a requirement to do a public hearing?
I didn't,
Or a petition?
I don't think so.
Unless it's a land use
Yeah.
amendment. If it was petitioned to amend the land use ordinance, it would, yeah. Well, that's what I need to know. Thank you, Terry. I know it's
Thank you.
complicated.
Okay.
So are we up to hearing from the attending, or are we still discussing as a board?
On what?
Well, what I'm hearing is that you're trying to move heaven and earth to get it on the town warrant. And I'm not,
No, all we're doing is providing information, so that if anybody wants
you're
to,
looking at how you could,
how you
at
can
the
do it.
11th hour, get it on there. And I think we all know the petition that would be coming, and it's a rather major thing. And I think, I mean, there's a group of people who've been focusing on it and signing the earlier draft. And then there's a lot of people in town who have no idea that this could be coming up. And it just, I mean, when we were deciding whether we're gonna buy, 129 acres, we thought it was important to have a meeting to inform the town. And this seems at least as big a matter to me.
But it's out of our hands.
Right, yeah. It's,
Well, what
We're just trying to figure out the timeline on it. We're in
is
a,
out of your hands?
because we're not intending, I believe, to put anything on about it.
Right.
But if we get a petition,
It's a citizen-driven
then
petition.
it's a citizen-driven position, and we need
And
to
we have to-
comply with the
But the
law.
law gives
So-
an option not to put it on a meeting coming up.
And that's a decision we would have to make.
at the time.
Yeah. But we're just trying to, at least in my mind, I'm just trying to sort out the process.
Yeah, so right now, what we're looking at is that if it comes in by the 22nd, then there's a chance that it could get put on this warrant. If it comes in much after that, there's a good chance that it can't be put on this warrant, which would require us to either put it on the next warrant the town develops, using John's interpretation, or within 60 days to set a special town meeting to do it. And again, that's a decision that would have to come. All we're doing is letting people know that if you want to put a petition in and even have it be able to be put on this town warrant, it has to be in to Terry by the 22nd.
And that would not leave any time for an informational meeting.
True, but informational meetings are up to the petitioner. I mean, even if it was a requirement, it would be them that would have to do the informational meeting. It's not a town. It's not a town.
The town doesn't have the flexibility to have an informational meeting on a matter that they think is important.
We could. Yeah.
So it isn't that you couldn't.
No, I
that you
didn't say we
don't have
could.
to.
Yeah, right.
Well, I thought you were saying you couldn't.
No. Okay, moving on. Update on the front step repair.
That does not look good.
I know.
Except it's not really fixed right.
Oh, no.
If you look at it closely, you can see that it's cracking in the same place. So Glenn Brooks did come out and looked at it, and he kind of shook his head and he said, that's not what I told him to do. So they're gonna come back and fix it. But in the meantime, it's a full step.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have to kick anything. Discussion on nominating a member to the Legislative Policy Committee, the MMA's Legislative Policy Committee.
Is there more than
The
one?
LPC.
Usually there's only one candidate for one seat. I'll confess I didn't look at it.
I confess that I gave it to Hannah, I haven't looked at it. Up to you.
I mean, I
Actually, I don't see anyone this time.
I don't see a name anywhere.
So this is for us to
Yeah.
nominate.
Right.
Oh, this is the not the vote, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Nominate one of
Sorry,
us.
Sorry, yeah.
No,
Anybody interested?
nope.
that was my question. Anybody in this?
Actually, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, Don, you don't have enough to do.
But it is fascinating. What do you have to do to be eligible?
Volunteer.
Really?
You have to be a municipal official.
Either elected or appointed.
Oh,
From any town or city within your district.
And what do you have to do if you get on the committee?
you go to meetings when the legislature's in session and MMA has this legislative policy committee and all the bills are filed. Their staff comes and explain them and basically ask the opinions of municipal officials, how they feel about different bills or amendments or potential amendments, why they're in the process of being reviewed by the legislature. So it's a lobbying, MMA is kind of a municipal lobby agent, and this is the group that sort of informs the lobbyists what to say. And sometimes it's unanimity, and sometimes it's a big argument between bigger cities and small rural towns, and it is interesting, but time consuming.
And so we
Lot to
could,
read.
and so there'd be one representative from our district, which is District 12, which is Appleton, Camden, Cushing, Friendship, Hope, Latinicus, North Haven, Owl's Head, Rockland, Rockport, St. George, South Thomaston, Union, Vinyl Haven, Warren. So it looks like Knox County, doesn't it?
I think it's not kind of a one exception. It's the Senate district. But. Anyways. But even so, with all those towns, generally as a rule, the ballot is not a crowded ballot.
Do you happen to know what kind of a commitment it is?
It says 10 hours. Approximately 10 hours a month during legislative sessions in the first 4 months of each calendar year, which includes attendance at a monthly meeting and contacts with other communities and legislators.
So January through April.
Yeah, unless the legislature runs late,
Right.
which has happened before.
And possibly one additional meeting.
Jay Filer did it for years, so if you're interested, I'd make a motion to nominate you, and then you
Yeah.
don't have to submit it, and if you wanna talk to Jay. And then if you decide not to submit it, just, well, submit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to nominate Jeff North, great.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? And I will agree with that.
You're crazy.
I know. Probably, and I probably won't be able to submit it because my wife won't let me.
No way.
You do get mileage and usually a meal.
Oh, no, I guess I should have abstained because it sounds like there was.
No, it's just, you don't,
No money.
probably the meal's gone now today.
All right, countersign the warrant and notice of election calling regional school unit number 13 budget validation referendum calling for regional school.
I'll make a motion, we countersign a warrant and notice of election calling regional school unit number 13 budget validation referendum, which is scheduled for June 11th. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? When did they meet? When did they meet?
Tomorrow night,
Tomorrow night.
except for the business managers out, so I don't know how that's gonna go.
Yeah, this, except for Owl's Head, this is one that every town should be voting for, since it's going down. I think it's even going down for Al said.
I haven't been paying attention. Do we have, how many, they usually send us like 7 million copies, 9?
Yes.
All those in favor? Did you vote on it? I don't.
That's what we're doing. Nine of the same thing that we saw.
Where do we sign? Oh, right there. Don't wait for me.
Okay, discussion on Ratcliffe Memorial Scholarship and Hopkins Scholarship.
Soon might be able to fill us in a little bit with how many applicants that she has.
We have, three. That applied to both, and then one who just applied for the Ratcliffe.
When you say both, what do you mean?
For the Ratcliffe and the Hopkins,
Oh.
they're two separate.
So is this the meeting where we just allocate the aggregate amount?
Right,
And then
yeah.
there's the principal.
The
and
principal, the superintendent, and I think
Somebody else.
school board member or from self.
Just actually decide which of the three gets what and.
Yep.
Do we know what
But
we
if we
have?
don't decide how much money to give them, then they'll give them all.
They'll give them all for all $1,000.
No, they'll give them all 10,000 if you want.
Oh, no, yeah.
Well, don't we give them the aggregate amount though, that they have?
We give them the amount, yeah,
Yeah.
but one year I don't think we did, they gave out a lot, but
Okay. But do we know what we gave them last year in aggregate?
I think it's in notes.
Oh, sorry.
Seems like,
Might not be.
I don't think it was,
that's where 3 of them, we gave them each $1,000.
sometimes it's been a couple thousand each,
I think last year was, I think 1,500.
1,500 each for each scholarship. Do we know what we get for interest in those accounts, or is it not much?
I think it's 4.5, maybe.
Yeah, but they're pretty big accounts, so.
Yeah.
they
Right.
generate. It should be in the audit report, right?
Yep. What are you looking for, John?
The interest earned over the course of a year on those two accounts.
Is it broken out?
I think so. I'm not positive. I can find that page. Don't wait for me. Oh, you got it kind of, don't.
Yeah, we're.
But So we just have
Coming-
to
coming
figure
to
out
me.
how much money you're willing to take out of those accounts.
Right.
And then that committee will decide who gets what. I don't think we can say it's so much.
I thought I could lay my hands on it.
Yeah, I think what we did last time was
Just gave them a total from each one,
right. But we based it on what they applicants.
okay.
Sorry.
I think that's
I got it.
3%. And then last month, the Radcliffe Fund earned $240 for the month. And the Hopkins earned $844
For a month,
for the month.
so that's. 844 times 12 for chuckle, right? That's my calculator, and all
844 times 12,
that.
$10,128.
I was thinking 10,000 on one.
What was the interest on the other one?
240,
240.
so that'd be 2880.
Yep. Not that much.
So we could do 10,000 and 2,500.
So this is the. Well. That's a lot more than we usually do, isn't it?
I don't think so.
I think last year we did 8,500 for one.
Well, go ahead.
But also remember.
I can't find the sheet.
That 2 years ago, the interest rate was a tenth or a hundredth of what it is now, so. Everybody happy with 2,500 and 10,000?
Yes.
Bring to the motion.
I'm agreeable.
Okay. John moved.
John moved, I thought Sue did.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Okay,
Either way,
doesn't matter.
so 10,000 and 2,500. Further discussion? All those in favor?
I'll let them know.
Which is which? Which is the tenant, which is?
10,000 is for the Hopkins
Yes.
and
No, wait.
25, right? Because that's the larger amount.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
And 2,500 for the Ratcliffe.
Thank you.
Right, we've got EMA report and CEO report, again, very detailed on the CEO. And it's good information too.
Could I just briefly add the road commissioners report?
Yes. You didn't do one in writing?
No,
Slack.
I'm slacking. I've had several people sort of comment on Westbrook Street saying that the paving was done very sloppily. But what they don't understand is
It's not.
that's a base pave.
Right.
And we're gonna repave over that. That's just from the reclaim, and I put a notice out, so if anybody says that, please let them disabuse them of that. And this afternoon, I was out, cleaning the west tennis court in preparation for paving to happen sometime soon and cutting the fence so we could get the paving equipment in there. And just as I was picking up and cleaning up, I got a phone call from Hager and said, can we pave the tennis court tomorrow? So that's supposed to happen tomorrow, late notice, but the weather's good, he had an opening, and so I jumped on it because it may be 4 months before it, calls again, so. So some progress, and they did pave Stumptown Road, so making progress.
Okay. Yes.
When is the Westbrook supposed to be repaved?
Sometime this season. Probably sometime late August, we got some culverts to replace. And they want, where they dug that up, they want it to really settle out good, you know, the traffic and trucks kind of pound it and settle it out good before they repave it.
Do we have any donations?
No.
Correspondence? Go with Paul DiMaggio, requested. Put it in the form of a question, 2 questions. Question number 1 is it a town policy that town employees cannot take part in political activities in their off hours and outside the town owned facilities or outside their town workplace? The answer to that question is no. Is it a town policy that town employees cannot circulate citizens petitions to collect signatures of residents in their off hours and outside of their town workplace and outside of town owned buildings? And the answer to that is no, it is not a policy of this town. And Walter's letter. Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, It's after, it's on the second page of the email.
Do you have it? I don't think I have it in that.
I think,
I just gave it to you this
tonight.
afternoon.
Oh, okay, it's on the second page.
Oh,
That would be a select one.
oh, okay, so it's on the same one as the other.
He actually sent two, but he said he sent the first one, he hit the send button prematurely, so. Basically, he's asking us that if we do get a petition regarding Gilpin Bucket, that we do not put it on the annual town meeting.
Right.
And delay it for at least 60 days, so there can be a thorough discussion.
And again, my personal preference is that we do it at a regular town meeting as opposed to a special town meeting.
That's my preference too. If we, but it's hypothetical at this point, so.
I have a question. If not at a town meeting or a special town meeting, but like we're gonna vote for the selectmen on the 11th at the elections, is that a possibility for a warrant item where you certainly would get far more people to be able to vote if it's at an election versus a town meeting? Is that something that can be done, or it has to be at a meeting?
Yeah, and I actually looked to see the wording. It would have to be for a town meeting warrant article. I don't think we can do it for a special town meeting. Because you have to set up the election in advance. And so I don't think,
Well, we certainly couldn't do it this,
no.
because that's,
Right,
that time's,
right.
I mean, there's absentee ballots, right, that are out already, and
But I think the language allows the select board to put something they deem appropriate on as a to be at the polls. In addition to elected officials. But I think the wording in that says other town meeting articles as deemed appropriate by the select board. So,
I think we could, I'd want to research that, but
yeah,
I would be opposed to that, because I think this is a complicated issue
right,
that needs a lot of discussion
Yeah.
in there,
I
and
agree.
yeah.
I
Although,
think,
will we get at a town meeting, or we, yeah, I guess there would be the discussion could go on.
yeah, but I can't if it's on a referendum.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, we may choose to put on a competing article, and that's difficult to do on a
On a
referendum,
referendum.
because then you end up with them both passed, or something like
Right,
that.
right.
So, but I think in theory, we could do that. But I don't know that.
I think the logistics on that would make it
Yeah.
very difficult.
We definitely couldn't do it with this week.
Does that answer your question?
Do we need to respond to Walter? Did he ask for a response?
He didn't ask, he said it.
Well, I actually does. He says, I look forward to your response.
Oh, all right, never mind. Never mind.
So do you want?
Yeah.
The response? to
Yeah,
him?
I'll respond to it. And basically my response is that we don't understand why you'd want to have it on a special town meeting, and plus right now it's hypothetical. And then the last thing on the agenda is a possible executive session.
We missed the CEO wanted to
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right,
You
you're right.
to,
Yeah,
waive a fee.
yes,
I have a building, land use permit from the library and community center director. She's having a gazebo. Say it was 11 by 12, Penny, or
10 by 12.
10 by 12. So it's over the 100 square feet, so she does need a permit. But I'm asking the select board to waive the fee since it's a town property.
Yeah, I'm for that.
I'm sure they've been our practice in the past.
Right, plus I think it's silly to take it out of one pocket and put it into another.
Mhm.
Can I ask you a question about the structure though, of Penny?
Yeah,
I assume this is movable.
Yes, so we intend to put it on the pavement over the recently donated picnic table and fasten it to the pavement.
Right, but it still would,
No,
Yeah,
yeah, that
it's
will,
not gonna be on a poured concrete slab or,
it will be on the pavement.
yeah, okay, thank you.
And we are putting in a garden shed, but that 8 by 10, so it doesn't require a permit. And did say as approved the boiler of the conduit to the solar field. So we are next in line for that project to move forward.
do I hear a motion
Or,
to waive the fee?
oh. Yes, I got to me. Yes, I'll move, we waive the fee for the gazebo on town property.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Yes, sir.
Just a question, have you gone over, I look forward to the public comment on items on the agenda, I might have missed it. Because apparently my second letter didn't make it in yet. Which was to, the librarian and North Grace. Just wanted to, has that come in yet?
Well, I think that's an agenda item. Didn't you want to go into executive session to talk about a personnel
No,
matter?
I read up on the lawn, there's no need to answer the questions.
Okay,
But I just wanted to go over clarification, it was actually old business when we were talking about why the books are arranged as they are in the library. And I just thought to get it out to the public would be good so they understood this. It's more than safe. If you get that letter from me,
I think it's the Delaware job.
yeah, I had not seen that.
We did skip public comment though.
yeah, I didn't company stationary, but
So I don't know.
I did see the Delaware Corporation, but I started to read it and it got complicated and I haven't had time to read it. But
yeah, speak to it in brief comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there was some concern about the loading of the floor. The library is supposed to be 150, 180 pounds a square foot. The current school is at 60 pounds a square foot by the structural analysis by Dorothy and whatever. So I just did some quick calculations, not being an engineer, but going back to my engineering studies, and something I do on a regular basis anyway. And the floor there, for one of those classrooms at 840 square feet, can hold somewhere between 14,000 volumes and 48,000 volumes. If you go with a hardcover book for 3 pounds each, which is pretty much the top limit, it's about 14,000 plus 9,000 on the walls. To let the public know, the library only has 9,000 books. So it's not even an issue. And I don't think a small town library gets much more than 11, 12, 14,000. So the public is safe.
All I can go on is what the engineers and
60 pounds a square foot.
and what the fire marshal told us.
But have an engineer verify it, because I mean, the thing on there now is, I was found out 2 weeks ago, a month ago, I'm not an engineer, and I'm not a professional. But it should put people somewhat at ease.
I don't think anybody was at ill ease as long as they followed the directions of the fire marshal, which was to put the stacks along the wall and not in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, they do have it in the middle of the floor as well, which is perfectly safe given the loading.
As long as there's not too much weight on them.
Right. As long as they don't weigh too much, but.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the executive session that you had mentioned possibly going into
Oh.
now null and vote. All right. Is there any other public comment that was not on the agenda or that anybody would like to offer now before we adjourn at 7 o'clock, 1 hour, that they're starting the meeting. We have scheduled meetings. The next one is the 29th here, and it'll also be a public hearing on ordinance changes to the land use ordinance. And also, we're gonna do
At
another
6 o'clock?
ordinance, right? ATV ordinance.
Yeah. We don't
That's
have
at
to.
6.
Yeah, that's a 6. Just prior to the select board.
And I should point out that's a Wednesday,
Yes, it's not a Tuesday.
4 people show up Tuesday.
And we don't have any currently scheduled for June.
On schedule.
Town meeting is on the 18th, voting is on the 11th.
I can't do the 11th or the 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Voting anyways, right?
yes, graduation.
Well, that's,
Graduation's on voting day?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's crazy.
boy.
They probably didn't even think about it.
Oh, no.
Well, they're voting on the school budget, certainly.
The
Yeah.
employees. Wow,
good day, Greg.
I'm gonna do absentee.
What about the? Yes,
I can do the 5th.
I can do the 5th.
and then we got town meeting on the 18th,
All right.
and Lord knows we'll need some emergency meeting right before. Oh, probably not after the 5th.
Yeah, I think we should be good.
So the 5th,
Yeah. Unless you want to do one like the week after town meeting,
Yeah.
well,
primarily to install.
I just think we should,
Appointments.
I just think we should keep a night. We should have a night available before the warrant. I mean, just as, even if we end up canceling it.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah, 5th isn't gonna work for that.
right. Because the warrant has to be done by.
Okay.
We pretty much figured the 29th is the last chance to do it.
Well, I still like to have a meeting booked just
For when?
sometime before town meeting. If we need to discuss something, maybe it's not the warrant, but I mean, it just seems though something always comes up.
12th.
Seems that way to me, but the 12th? Is that a Tuesday?
That's a Wednesday. The town meeting,
I mean, we can always cancel.
yeah. We're gonna meet on the 5th. We wanna have a penciled in one on like the
Well, we're
12th.
gonna meet on the 5th? What do you mean?
Yes, that was the date you.
Oh, well, that's what I'm talking about. That's it.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
all right. Oh, we've got it then.
No,
Okay, I thought you were talking about having another.
no,
one.
no,
Me too.
no, 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 no.
Okay,
And I can't do the 12th anyway.
okay. So how about the 5th and the 25th?
Perfect.
So the 25th, we could
Cool.
do appointments.
Yes. And that will give Terry time to work up. Who's up and who wants to continue and who doesn't. Yeah, got that, you already got it?
Yep. Right, that's around what date? The 25th? 27th. Yeah, let's go tomorrow.
Yeah, and so to follow along with that, so the 5th is if we need it.
Okay,
Well, we won't. Unless, because we're meeting on the 29th, so,
right.
yeah, so the 29th is our primary one prior to town meeting, and then we wait till town meeting to do the rest.
All right, I don't put these in right now, so I know we can.
Me too.
Mine is a terrible thing to lose.
I almost had a meeting done in an hour, so. Almost.
Go ahead, you're gonna, I'm done.
Okay, anything else? Last chance. Okay, then without objection, we are adjourned.
more things to sign? Yeah.